In reality, I'm from North Carolina originally and stayed out here for, I met my wife and then fell in love with public land out here.
Yeah.
North Carolina doesn't have it,
Yeah.
I can go back and hunt whitetails and that's actually a lot of fun. I grew up fishing and everything, but it's not the same. Like, you can't wake up and I can literally glass deer from my window.
Yeah.
You can't do that in North Carolina. So
that's crazy. Well,
that's awesome.
I want to get into all of that and also just like future plans and what
you guys plan.
Sometimes. Welcome to the Cuttercast, presented by Canvas Cutter, where we leave chaos for campfires and trade deadlines for dirt roads. We dive into hunting stories, outdoor adventures, and the gear that lets you live life outside. Kick back and let's get into it. Okay, good. Rocking and rolling. Well, welcome everybody to the Cuttercast. It's yours truly, and as I almost said as always, but it's been, I don't know about always, but quite frequently. To my left here, we've got TD, T-Money, T-Dog.
All the nicknames.
All the TD cameraman.
Touchdown.
You can check that out. And to my right, we have Jonathan McCormick, a.k.a. RedBeard Outdoors.
Super creative name.
Super creative name. It's really good. We're super excited to have you here. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
It was quite a journey. Yeah. So I'm glad that you were willing to make it. Before we get into a nice get to know you with Jonathan and learn more about RedBeard Outdoors, just a quick reminder. We've got a really good Black Friday promotion going on right now, to where if you want to send loved ones to get you some high quality gear, they would also be able to get a free gift for themselves. Or if you are the loved one,
just double down for yourself.
Just
honestly.
double down for yourself. We won't judge. This is a judge-free zone, but we're talking I'm not wearing it either. We've got the dark water hat, which is super sweet.
It's an awesome hat.
T's repping the hoodie, which we're super stoked on. Yep. We've also got a Father Wisdom signature utility bag. There's only 85 of those, and they're actually going faster than anything else. So if you want one of those, get on that. And then, at the top of the range, you pre-order the Dominator 3.0, and you can unlock a Blackout Burrow duffel bag. So that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty good gift for yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Or if you're charitable, someone else. That's an option as well. But without further ado, so Jonathan, where did you grow up? Have you always been into the outdoors and hunting and?
Yeah.
How'd you get into it?
It is weird being on this side of the microphone. Usually I'm asking the questions, and so I don't like talking about myself a lot. And it seems kind of counterintuitive being on YouTube, having a podcast. But we'll talk about that later, how my wife kind of challenged that. And you challenged me to something, and it's going to happen, right?
Good.
But anyway, I grew up in North Carolina. Right outside of Fort Bragg. Okay. Don't recommend anyone go and visit unless you're in the military. Fayetteville is not the best place. And graduated high school there. All growing up, I was in Scouts. And so it's kind of changed, from what it was. But that was the youth program for LDS as well. That was very intertwined. LDS, Mormon, and so, that was a goal of mine, was to get my Eagle Scout. And we hadn't had an Eagle Scout for years in our ward and in our troop. And so I ended up accomplishing Eagle Scout. We had some really cool leaders because we lived right outside of Fort Bragg. Yeah. Everyone knows all the cool operators are right in Fort Bragg, at least all the Army ones. And so we were learning things that were definitely not in the handbook.
I bet.
Yeah, and it's real funny, because I heard, so Sean Ryan's podcast, I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. Yeah. He had a guy on that was Delta, and he brought up a name that is very, it's not a Joe Schmo name. It's very standout. And I texted my old scout leader. I'm like, do you know this guy? And he was like, yeah, how'd you hear about this story? I'm like, Oh my gosh. And then I texted my dad. I'm like, Dad, how many of my scout leaders were Delta? He was like, every single one of them was a trained killer.
You're kidding
I was like,
oh my God.
Okay.
That takes the scouting program to a whole new level.
Dude,
and I'm like, no wonder, like, all the other scouts had the weird, like, you guys are the weirdos.
Yeah.
We were the cool scouts. Like, our guys, we didn't have to wear the uniforms all the time. We showed up in T-shirts and, stuff like that.
Sure.
And you actually learned how to do things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's way cool.
And so, finding that now, I'm like, man, we used to wrestle with these guys that have probably actually
choked somebody out.
Done really bad things to people. And they were just the best guys. Just the best. They play Halo with us back when you had to connect. when you had to connect them.
The consoles.
Yep. So we had 4 rooms in this guy's house. We would stay up. Like, our parents would just drop us off. We'd do pizza. One year during while we were playing Halo, like, we came up with the dumbest names,
of course.
And because it would say killed by such and such. So you hear someone yell from the other, who's so and so, and then one time, one of the scoutmasters, so his backyard essentially opened up into some public forest, and he had a big buck that it just walked by in his backyard, and his wife's like, hey, the deer's out there, and it was during deer season. And he's like, hey, guys, you're going to hear a loud bang. Don't worry about it. He literally laid down in his living room while we were all playing Halo, barrel out the back door, and just dropped this buck. I was like, oh, my gosh.
That's hilarious.
So anyway, so many
so
cool
awesome.
experiences. But Fayetteville is definitely not for the faint of heart. I don't recommend it. I got out of there somehow without ever having alcohol, drugs, or any of that stuff. So it was a good childhood. And then
what is your family from there? Like, did your parents grow up there?
Yeah, so I'd never been west of the Mississippi River until I was, 18.
Okay.
So, grew up all up and down the East Coast, and my family's from North Carolina, and it's a beautiful state. It really is.
Yeah.
Everywhere but Fayetteville. Everywhere but Fayetteville. It's got some beautiful mountains. I remember going to the Mile High Bridge, going up. And now I live at almost a mile high. And so it's a beautiful state. So grew up there, loved the outdoors. Didn't really get into hunting. Got into a lot of fishing, and didn't really have anyone that was into archery growing up either. Yeah. Did the scouting archery stuff. And then, all of my stuff was just camping and, fishing and bass fishing. Absolutely love topwater bass fishing. It's so much fun. And then I went one time with a family friend where we sat in a box blind, and we had 3 shooting lanes, and there was feed here, a lick here, and something else, probably corn or whatever on this end. And I just sat there thinking, I'm like, man, this isn't, for me, nothing against people that are into this, but I was like, this isn't a hunt.
Yeah.
And it could be that I didn't help cultivate the land. I didn't, do all the work that goes into whitetail stuff.
Sure.
But for me, I'm like, if I want target practice, I can just go out and, shoot targets. And so hunting really wasn't for me until I came out here. So, fast forward, got my Eagle Scout, decided to go to BYU because, again, North Carolina has ECU, UNC were my top 2 schools that I was thinking of going to. They're both big party schools. Yeah. I knew I wanted to serve an LDS mission, and I didn't want to get tied up with that and possibly trip up and not be able to go on a mission. Right. And so, being the oldest of 5, my parents had just gone through a divorce, and I had kind of taken the role of more than just older brother for my siblings. I quit sports junior year. I'd go to early morning seminary, come back, help them get up, because my mom was going through a really rough time, obviously, depression and everything. And so I'd get them up, get them off to school. On the way to high school, drop my little brother off at daycare and go to high school. So I quit sports. Mom never asked me to, but I just did. Yeah. I knew I didn't have a career in the NFL or anything like that. So I was just kind of like, it's fun. It was fun while it lasted. I lettered in a couple sports. And that's awesome. And anyway, so I decided when I hit 18 and graduated that I wanted to go to BYU. I was like, I'm not going to any other school before my mission. If I don't get into BYU, I'm just going to go work. Yeah. I didn't know anything about Utah. Knew there was a bunch of Mormons out here, obviously. And so I applied. And again, looking back now, I got really lucky. I mean, I had great grades, graduated top 10 in my class, and awesome. And so I got in, and my parents were like, what do you mean you got into BYU? And it was actually cheaper because being a member of the church, it's cheaper than actual in-state tuition was in North Carolina.
But just a quick note, it is not easy to get into BYU.
Yeah. Seriously.
Like I went there for a couple degrees, but I had to transfer there because there was no way I was getting in on my scholastic demerit. So that is.
I joke that they had to fill their ginger quota. And that's why they put me in there.
That's funny.
But no, I didn't know how hard it was to get in. You know, and I just applied and I met all their standards and got the acceptance letter.
That's awesome.
Great. Flew out the first time with my mom, and I was just like, Mom, you don't have to come. Like she's like, no, really, I'm going to go with you. You're flying across the country. I'm going to go with you. So we flew out and got everything set up. I refused to live on campus. I was just stubborn that way. I'm like, I don't want the dorm experience. I'm great cooking my own food. And so lived off campus. And technically it was on campus. It used to be family housing, but it was like an apartment style living. And so I lived there for a year and just fell in love with the mountains, did a lot of the hiking and everything. And then shortly after that, went on a mission down to Mexico City. Again, I would rank Mexico City more dangerous than Fayetteville, but it's similar. And my mom kind of freaked out about that too, as most parents would. I would too, knowing what I know now. I joked and I was like, I did jujitsu for like 6 months, Mom. I'm okay. Like, I'll be great. But no, I had a great time down there. Loved serving the people and learning the language and the food and everything. Came back, and my mom had actually moved out here to get a job at Primary Children's, and so I came back just in time for her to get remarried, and I was working 3 jobs at that point. Just trying to stay busy, you know, and save up to go back to school, and I ended up meeting my wife during that time, and we got married, and I told her when we got married I was planning on moving back. My original goal was North Carolina with a physical therapy degree, open my own clinic, have an adjoining gym, so you could slowly transition people out once insurance no longer wanted to pay for physical therapy. Don't just dump them out there, but work them through their therapy in the gym. And I wanted to do that. Then I realized how much of a racket school is. And even though I didn't have straight A's, I think I had like a 3.5 overall and like a 3.6 or 7 in the prerequisites. So good grades for someone doing full-time school. At the time I was married with 3 kids. We talked about earlier, my wife had 3 from a previous marriage. And so juggling all of that, and when every single school rejected me after I spent hundreds of dollars just applying for them to look at your application. And I was like, and then I started doing the math. I'm like, in Utah, physical therapists come out making about 60, maybe 70 a year. I'm going to spend 150 on school because now it's a 3-year doctorate program. And I was like, that math ain't math. The math is not math. And I'm like, I can help people in other ways. So kind of flipped them the bird in a sense and went and got my MBA. So
that's awesome.
And then since then it's just been Utah. Just fell in love with public land. All in there. I went on my first hunt with a buddy of mine and just fell in love with public land. So
that's awesome. So you obviously developed friendships out here, and those friendships led to like more time in the woods and getting into hunting.
So that was a buddy of mine. Well, now he's my best friend. He's a great CPA as well, and he called my wife just off the registry for the church ward registry, and asked for John, because everyone out here shortens people's names. Out east they don't.
I called you Jonathan.
Exactly. You must not be from Utah. No. But everyone, it seems like everyone out here, and we joke because I'm like, my Utah friends and my Eastern friends, because my Utah friends all call me John or RedBeard at this point. But he called and he was like, hey, is John available? And she's like, first off, it's Jonathan. And I was like, oh, great. And she was like, and yes, he's right here. My wife got real defensive. about my name, I guess. And so I was helping him move, and I saw a bunch of Euro mounts in his garage, and I was like, oh, I've been kind of wanting to get into hunting, but these mountains are just, they're huge.
Yeah.
And you're like, I literally just pick a spot and
Yeah,
go look for animals. Like, what am I
Yeah.
looking for? What do I want to do? I'd never seen an elk before in my life. Mule deer I'd seen on BYU campus.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
right.
like, BYU campus, I literally saw a cougar chasing deer in the snow.
Oh my gosh.
And then we walked around. They send out a text alert when that happens, by the way. They're like, hey, there's a cougar on campus, and it's not the cougar.
It's not Cosmo.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Cosmo. And so anyway, we're walking around, and then we came around this corner, and there was some deer bedded, and I'm like, those are horses with antlers, because whitetails versus mule deer is so different, and even southern whitetails are even smaller, And so anyway, that's really my only experience with Western game until, I asked him if I could go on a hunt with him. He was like, oh yeah. I was wearing, I think, Keen boots, jeans, and like a camo shirt I'd bought from Walmart. So probably mostly cotton. And, I think I'd bought some binoculars, or I borrowed some from him. But that first time going up, it sucked climbing up the mountain where he was going. But seeing the first deer, learning what to look for, things like that. Now I feel like I'm in the mountains way more than he is, So it was cool. And then my wife a few years later was like, so are we going to look at properties in North Carolina? What are we doing? I said, no, we're out here for good. Yeah. We're out here for good. Not to mention, Utah is like 8 hours from, especially Salt Lake City area. It's like 8 hours from anywhere.
Yeah.
Montana,
Seriously.
Idaho, Washington.
It's great central location.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially in the industry as well.
Yeah.
So many people.
That's
right
super
here.
true.
Yep.
What led you? So you develop a love for hunting, decide to set up shop here in Utah. What led you to starting RedBeard Outdoors?
So I was working.
What were you doing?
Yeah, so I was
beforehand.
working at Discover Financial, so Discover Card, and I was in the Spanish department, and I was kind of getting fed up because they kept passing, not even just me, but anyone in the department over for promotions. They were bringing people in from, and I'm like, and it was funny because I was one of the few white guys in the department, and I was sitting there just kind of joking with it. I'm like, man, they keep bringing these white people in from these other departments, just messing around, and like they're not giving us this promotion and so it kind of hit this glass ceiling. And then they said, you can kind of make a lateral move, and then work into management and then come back. I said, I don't look at Discover as my end goal. This is not where I'm going to be forever. So I do appreciate working there because they did help pay for the MBA. They did have that awesome tuition program. But as soon as I got done, I was gone.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I noticed, people would have their days off, and then they'd come back in and they would just say how busy it was. They were running errands and they were doing this and that. And at the time I had our second to youngest, and on our days off, I would take him in the baby carrier and I'd go on a hike. Or I would check one of the other kids out of school if they had been having a bad day or whatever. I'd check them out and go on a hike for lunch, and then take them back to school. And, a lot of people in the office were like, wait, you did that with a baby? And like, it was almost like shocking to them. I'm like, guys, you have mountains. You drive 10 minutes. There's so many different trailheads.
Seriously.
And most of them, at least for the first mile or so, are kid friendly.
Yeah.
And then if not, just carry your kids. Why aren't you able to carry your kids there, and so that's when I was like, I'll just start posting, because obviously there's a lot of people that don't realize they can do that. And so that's kind of where it started. And then I realized how expensive it can get to go hunting, and all the good gear is not cheap. And my wife kind of was like, either you need to stop diving into this so much or find a way to pay for it. And I was like, microphones aren't that expensive, so, let's see where this goes. And I bought a little USB plug-in mic, and I didn't have a camera at the time, and I said I'm gonna hit, it was like 30. There was some number that there's a drastic drop off of podcasts, after episodes.
So your initial thought was to do a podcast Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to do YouTube like that.
Yeah.
All this camera stuff. I'm looking at your camera stuff. I'm like, oh man, but even entry level camera stuff isn't cheap.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I love having conversations with people. Yeah. And so, I think it was like $60 for a Samsung microphone. Mm-hmm. And I just started sharing my own experiences, being a dad out west with kind of a 9-to-5 job, going to school, and how much I love the outdoors. And then I said I think it was after 30, if I could prove to myself that at that moment I was going to continue, then I'd start inviting guests on. Mm. And it started with friends, and then it started getting to know people like yourselves.
Yeah.
And bringing people on that I wanted to learn from, but you can't just send them an Instagram message and say, hey, can I have an hour of your day to just talk to me? Yeah. But if you provide an audience, they'll spend an hour with you. Yeah. And I've had a lot of repeat guests as well, which has been awesome. People like, do you guys know Pedro Ampuero?
I know the name. Okay. I don't know him.
So he is one of the most genuine dudes out there, and no one would know that he is a genius. He used to build telescopes that would take pictures of the sun and stuff like that. Whoa. And now he runs the European division of Kuyu. Huh. And anyway, this is a tangent, but I found this out on the podcast because we were just having a conversation. Yeah. And he said, yeah, my boss, we built this thing out in Hawaii, this big telescope or camera or whatever he described it as. And he was like, yeah, as that job was finishing up, I let my boss know I was done. I was going to go and work for Kuyu. And he was like, his boss literally looked at him and said, so you're going to go fold clothes for a living? Looking at this big project that they had just completed. And he was like, yeah. And now he travels the world. Yeah. Has amazing camera crew with him and everything, and has so many cool adventures. So getting to meet people like that has been awesome. Super and learn from them. Cool.
And you started, not started because you have a substantial amount, but that morphed into you starting to look at gear and almost reviewing gear as well. You have are you at 270 episodes, or are you?
No, so the podcast has almost it's close to 500.
Oh my gosh, bro, that is a lot.
I was doing 2 a week, and then about 2 years ago, I was like
2 a week.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes 3. Going back and looking at the dates, I'm like, there's sometimes 3.
Oh my goodness.
And so then I started doing the YouTube channel because I was recording the videos.
Okay, so on the YouTube channel, there's about a little over 270, I think.
Yeah,
between the reviews and the interviews.
Yeah, something like that.
So you were busting out the podcast. Just solely on the podcast platform for a while then.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and then I started getting into camera stuff and figuring that out, and still got a long way to go, but it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I can see why people get addicted to it. So
yeah. That's incredible. That is a lot of work,
dude. That's so much.
We try to do 1 a week, which is manageable with everything going on, but just scheduling people and having new ideas and stuff like that. It's quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's something that it's fun for me though.
Yeah.
And then it also allows me, like I said, to meet some really awesome people like yourselves and getting to be on other people's podcasts.
Are you able to do RedBeard Outdoors full time?
No. Not yet.
What else what do you do to
I do sales.
Supplement
sales?
So
I do sales and account management for a dealer management system company called Lightspeed, and they do power sport, marine, and RV dealerships. But I have close to 400 dealerships in the Southeast that I manage. Wow. And so essentially, I'm not the headhunter that goes out and gets these dealerships, but once they've been with us for 3 months, they pass them over to me to help manage.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, what's some of your future goals? Where do you want RedBeard Outdoors to go or to take you, or do you have?
Honestly, it's kind of right now I'm in the phase where my younger kids are really getting into the outdoors and are able to go with me and do those things. I think that's kind of where I'm wanting to shift a lot of stuff, is to focus more on that. And the fact that I'm able to provide good equipment for them to enjoy being outdoors as well, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
For kids. And I do make sure to reiterate to them, I'm like, you're shooting this rifle that you're shooting is something that some people dream of, you know, and this is your first hunting rifle, right, that you're going to be using. And so I do try and keep them humble in that aspect, but that's kind of my main goal right now is that I want to continue growing and sharing my experience with others. I want to eventually have a studio like this where I can bring people in and do in-person stuff. I think would be a lot of fun. And I would love to get to that point where I can bring a guest in, spend a day with them, have them, you know, spend some time with my family or go out and do whatever. You know, we've got an awesome archery range. We've got wild arrow right in my backyard, essentially. And then we can drive out, you know, 45 minutes and go hit 1,000, 1,500 yard range with a rifle. So things like that would be fun. Yeah.
So you've since done elk hunting and mule deer hunting. I assume I don't assume, I know you still go back and chase some whitetails. What's been one of your most exciting standout hunts out west?
Well, first I'm gonna rank animals here.
Okay. Give us the rank.
I'm gonna get real controversial here.
We love some controversy. Always performs well.
Elk are still number one. Like they are the king of the mountain.
I agree with you.
And some people look at them, especially the mule deer guys, are like, "Oh, that's stinky. He's a cow with antlers." Whatever. And you know, I'm like, I don't care. Like, yeah, you can find them, but are you going to get in on them? You know? And so I love that with a bow. And I'll love it, you know, when my kids get into that with a rifle. But whitetail has surpassed mule deer for me.
Really?
Yeah, whitetail is the number 2 for me. Mule deer's third with a close fourth rifle pronghorn.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be
stretching it out, being able to kind of test your limits and watch those animals at the same time. But yeah, whitetail's a lot of fun, and it could be because it's fresh on my mind. You know, and I just killed the biggest mule deer I've killed. Which is, he was a good 3x4, went out to as wide as his ears.
That's awesome. Cool.
Here on the extended, and that was a lot of fun. And I didn't kill an elk this year. And I spent probably more time in the field this year than I have in any September up to this point.
Yeah.
And came close quite a few times, but just never was able to seal the deal. Yeah. Could have punched tag on cows multiple times, you know.
What is it about mule deer that bumped them below whitetail for you?
Man, you know, there's something about whitetail, and I'll say there's 2 types that really interest me with whitetail. If I lived out east, it'd be a problem. I'd have property, and I'd be like addicted to managing that property. Right?
Yeah, it would be hard.
Trying to bring them in, you know, there's some really good people out there that talk about that. And until you've seen a well-managed property and understand the work and time it takes to, you know, some people can look down on that, especially Western guys are like, oh, well, I pound miles and don't see an animal. You know, it's like, well, that's cool. But, you know, but these guys work literally year round on these properties to just hopefully attract deer to stay there, you know. And so there's that kind of whitetail management. And then there's the mobile hunting, which I've done a lot more of, and the saddle hunting even more so. The hardest part about a saddle is trying to sit still.
Yeah, you know? We know how that goes.
You want to swing around.
We've tried that.
Exactly. Yep. I also fell out of a tree 2 sticks up this year. Luckily, I had my safety rope on, but that top. The steps on there's
jagged.
Yeah,
they are jagged. Super
so
jagged.
I was really close to having to go to the hospital and get stitches.
Oh my gosh.
My wife actually brought it up last night. She was like, "So why did you downplay this whole like you're still kind of scarred up from that?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I kind of downplay things. You know, it doesn't need that much attention." But no, in Wisconsin, we went. This was the first time we've really been there for the rut. And it was so cool just having them walk right under you, hearing them grunting, watching them get real stiff-legged around other bucks, you know, and chase does and looking for does. And you know, it sucks because I missed the biggest whitetail. It's probably a 140 class whitetail.
Oh, dang.
Because he wouldn't stop. He was so beelining, and he didn't take the route that the other bucks had taken right underneath me. Would have been an easy shot right there. You know, and I've got on video, of course, which I'm glad I do because I have the excuse of hitting a branch and you can see the branch moving. So it's like I wasn't lying, guys. But yeah, he wouldn't stop. Like he was so pinned on getting after these does just from the smell of them. They'd been in there hours earlier. Dang. And he took this whole other route and that was cool to watch, and doing the whole and I literally almost just, hey, like yelled at him to get him to stop because he wouldn't stop. And they're beautiful creatures, you know. And the northern ones are even, I mean, they're almost the size of mule deer. They're big whitetails. So they're a lot of fun. But yeah, just how fast, you hope, obviously put out cameras if you can, you get some general knowledge. And then you just hope when you put the tree or you set up in the tree in the dark, you're like, I hope they go this way.
Yeah. Yep.
And it doesn't, for the most part, doesn't go that way. Right. Yeah. But,
you're pretty committed once you set up that tree saddle, you're committed.
Exactly.
You are.
Some people that talk about being able to get up and down quick, I'm like, I probably, by the time I break it down and move trees, I'm probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I see some guys and like they are really quick, but they also, that's all they do.
Yeah.
And so I would assume you'd get really quick. It takes us quite a while.
Yeah.
45 minutes. You've got cameras and stuff. That's
doing the camera stuff is.
Yeah. Because you don't want to drop an A1 out of a tree at 25.
You sure don't.
No, you really don't want to do that.
But if you could get like really efficient at throwing those up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, to be able to be like, it's pretty slow. I think I'm going to,
Well, and it is so cool if you have an animal come in. When you're in one, it's like such a cool experience because you're just bird's eye view.
Observing.
They've got no idea. It's so cool.
You're hearing the squirrels the whole time, and and then all of a sudden you hear the. You're like, that's not a squirrel. And then I swear, after a couple of days, the squirrels learn how to walk like deer, and it sounds like the deer. But no, it's such a blast being up in the tree, those cool, crisp mornings, and it's just like being up in the mountains. Watching the mountains wake up, watching the forest wake up, getting to hear all the sounds, and then they duck too. That's the other thing. Those whitetail. Like there's so many times where, and I had a couple misses this year. One of them, the deer literally, and I was only 30 yards away, and I put it, right tucked between the shoulder and the back ribs, just kind of quartered away from me. And it literally, I've got it on trail cam because she was standing right there, and you can see her duck and turn away, and it ricocheted off her shoulder, the spine of her shoulder blade. And I'm like, what the heck?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Before I had a really good bull tag here in Utah in 2015, and a guy that was going to help us had the archery tag. I had the rifle, and my dad was like, if you'll help us, like, I'll come and help you your whole hunt. And so he did, but my dad said he had a really nice 6x7 bull duck his string at 30 yards.
Whoa. See, that's something I've never seen.
If you think of how big of an animal that is,
it's so crazy,
and how fast that arrow's going at 30 yards to be able to duck it, like those instincts. But whitetail are on a whole other level.
Yeah,
you watch those videos and they're like on the ground, and the arrow's like.
Yep.
Right over.
I call it the whitetail burpee because that's what it looks like, and that's really what they're doing. Is they're not really ducking; they're just pulling their legs in like a spring, and as soon as it touches the ground, they're gone. Right? But they are able to get so low, and people that have even better, good cameras, you can put a pin of where they were aiming and where the arrow actually goes, rewind it, and it was like the perfect shot. It would have even been a heart shot sometimes, and they still are able to get down that low and duck it. Yeah,
gosh, I want to hunt whitetail pretty bad. That's high on my bucket list. Whitetail, axis deer are high on my bucket list because I've never hunted whitetail. I've wanted to. I've watched a lot of whitetail hunts, and it seems so fun. And I have no problem hanging out in a tree, so I'm fine with that too.
Get some good podcasts, like the Canvas Cutter podcast. The Cutter Cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Download it and go sit in the tree for a little while.
But that's hopefully in the future. Well, you've been an ambassador of Canvas Cutters for a little while. You've had an opportunity to use some of our gear. Before we finish up, there's a lot of incredible people that listen and have been following along that don't have canvas cutter gear,
I'm sorry,
are curious about it. But what's your honest take? What maybe were some things that you were apprehensive about before you had a bedroll, or that maybe now that you've had experience using one, maybe that's not much of a concern anymore? Or what are some things that how have you been converted to it, maybe?
Well, I mean, camping all growing up, you think about tents, right? And then you get out here, and then the cool thing is the backpack in. I realized, I mean, that's cool, but you're either spending a lot of money on really lightweight equipment, or you're going in heavy, and it's not as fun. And so I kind of cut that out unless I know that there's animals back there, and maybe I'll bivvy in with a little sack that I keep in my day pack. But for the most part, most of the animals that I've had encounters with are within 3 to 5 miles at the most, but usually within 3 miles of wherever I'm parked. I try not to go to trailheads because they're usually loaded down. I usually will stop somewhere along the trail where there's not people and kind of cut in that way. But the convenience of having, so I've got the Dominator 2.0 and then just got the bunker bag. That thing's awesome, by the way. That was the warmest, and it surprised me, and I'll get into that a little bit later in Wisconsin with how small that packs down, but how well it insulates you. You guys did an awesome job with that. But the bedroll system is usually what I run through September, and I love just being able to just throw it out, whether in the bed of the truck or now that I've got the truck bed covered right beside the truck. And you guys pointed out even that you generally like it more on the ground than on a cot, because I used to run on a cot.
Cots.
Yeah, I used to run on a cot, and you're right, you do kind of get this like almost, you lose some of the space of the canvas cutter.
You lose some of the space, and for me, the comfort. Like I feel like I'm pinned in the middle. And I want the freedom to be able to. Yeah. And so you guys have a mat, which is cool to be able to get out and not have to put your feet on the ground, you know? And so I've loved running it for that. Just the comfort. I've had it in snowstorms last year. I think it was the second to last day of elk hunting. And, I woke up at, the time I was going to go in, and there was a thunderstorm. I mean, it was nasty. And I was up in the UNS, so I was up high.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems very close.
Yeah, it does.
When you're that
it
high
sure
up.
does.
And so I just kind of hunkered down in there, and I was getting hailed on, snowed on, and I was not cold one bit. And being able to keep those little vents open, because you got the flaps that go over the vents. Kept the airflow, in there, because I definitely did not smell the best after being out there for as long as I was. But it's warm, and for the most part, honestly, I don't even generally use a sleeping bag in it. It keeps the warmth so insulated in there that I may have a sleeping bag unzipped all the way like a blanket. But for the most part,
that's my jam. Seth loves that. That's what I do.
Exactly. And then on top of that, the convenience of having it all in there, and then being able to leave your sleeping bag in there, and also being able to, I've got an air pillow that I put in there. I don't know how your rim pillow, if that'll roll up in there, if that'll mess up the foam, but I roll everything up in there, and then it's probably not the best thing to do, but I just put it in the garage, and then I'll open it up the next time I need it, and I'm like, I should probably wash that. But no, it's just it's so convenient and insulating. And it keeps the water and weather off of you as well.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Good. Well, I'm glad that it's working for you. I'm glad you've put it into some.
We need a queen size though, so we can bring. I can have my wife go there with me, and then she'll actually be warm.
That's in development.
We're working on it.
That's in development. Hopefully before fall next year, that will be out. It is pretty sweet, the old tent roll, but. We've got some tweaking to do, but it will be sweet. Yeah. So we'll make sure you have one to go out and use and abuse. But thank you so much for all that you do and for the work that you put in with RedBeard Outdoors. I think what you're doing is awesome, and I hope it just continues to grow and grow and grow and allow you to create some pretty incredible memories with your kids and with your friends. I think that's at the core of canvas cutter And what we're trying to do with the gear that we make is make gear that allows individuals to get out and have those type of experiences, and to be able to hopefully make gear good enough that they can pass down and give to their kids and so on and so forth. But if you have not yet gone and followed or subscribed to RedBeard Outdoors, where are some places they can find you?
Right now, the big push is YouTube. Is where I prefer. Instagram's being funny right now. With,
really?
They don't like knives. They don't like, so I'm being the brat that I am, and I'm posting more gun stuff now because I'm like, if you're going to flag me for everything else. I actually got flagged for sexual content.
What?
Twice. Now,
what?
Twice. Yeah, so it's not an accident when it happens twice, right? One of them, I was holding a bottle of protein, and that was it, and just talking about pumpkin spice flavor. And the other one was a slow-mo fire pit. And I took screenshots because I'm like, this is so unbelievable, and I'll appeal it. And they're like, no, you're violating some kind of policy. I'm like,
what?
Okay,
how is that?
Unless it's some... I don't know how you guys get on here, but unless it's some kind of fire crotch joke.
Oh my gosh,
I don't know how a fire pit would be,
so weird.
and I don't know. So at that moment I was like, okay, I'm going to lead into this. And it's actually been kind of funny. So anytime I hold up a protein bottle, I'll put censored. I'm like, hey guys, watch, be careful. Don't watch this at work. Just kind of lean into it. So it's been fun. But anyway, YouTube, Instagram is RedBeard Outdoors. If I am flagged when you're looking me up, it is red.beard.outdoors. You do have to type it out to be able to find me. The YouTube is just RedBeard Outdoors, and it's the same logo on both.
Oh my!
And then the podcast, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah. Check it out. Go check it out. Awesome stuff.
Before we end, you know what really threw me for a loop is that one time you posted a photo of yourself where the beard was gone.
Beard
I was like,
gone.
there's no way he did that.
Yeah. So AI is really good. I had a lot of people fooled.
I was saying, I was like, is that AI? We went back and forth. We were like, I don't know. It looks really
there's
good.
No
though.
way. Like, that's his name. There's no way.
I haven't seen my chin in a while, so I could be like that. I don't know. My wife said I'm on the couch if I shave. She's like, you look 12. I'm like, okay, fine.
I get it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, well, thank you again. Go check him out. Awesome stuff. Tons of content. Like, if you're going to set up in a tree stand, you might as well download, 700 episodes and get some really good interviews. And really good. I've watched a lot of your review videos, too, of gear.
Yeah, seriously,
and
great breakdowns.
Super awesome. Really good breakdowns. Yeah, appreciate it. So go check him out. And if you're liking what you're hearing here, please, as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. It always helps. And if you're listening, please leave us a review. It helps us grow this thing. But until next time, keep on keeping on.